If you're in the Gimli area, and that's going to be a lot of you, because Gimli, of course, is, hey, it's one of the places you go in the summertime in Manitoba. What do you go to Gimli? It's kind of what you do. Well, this weekend, it's the Collector Car Appreciation Day, and it's coming up this weekend in Gimli, and our good friend Bob Chubala joins us today to talk about it. It's great to see you again.
Hey, good to be back with you, Geoff. Sorry I missed you last year.
Well, it's a nice tan. You look like you've been outside some.
I had a base coat a couple of months ago in Hawaii.
All right. For the rest of us, it's rust, right?
It's rust. It's rust.
For you, it's tan. For the rest of us, it's rust.
It's all good.
All right. So it's an annual event, right? The Collector Car
Appreciation. It's our 9th annual.
Yeah.
It's our 9th annual this year.
Why does Gimli work so well for you?
Well, this year we were kind of forced. Our hand was forced. Our cards were forced a little bit. We normally use the legislative area, Memorial Boulevard, Memorial Park. Well, there's construction going on. The roads are ripped up, and they were not...
It's a friggin' nightmare down there.
Yeah, they're not renting the park out either because they're prepping up for Manitoba 150 next year.
For next year?
150 next year. Look out.
Yeah, well, I know. We've all been reminded about 150 next year. Come on. You mean to tell me they're not renting the park out this summer because next summer somebody's going to use it?
I guess so. So, you know what? We just work with our friends at the government, so we've actually combined this event with a huge,
so because of Manitoba 149, you can't use the park.
149, we're not allowed.
Okay, all right. So you're going to all right, I'm just kind of poking them with a sharp stick here, Bob.
There you go.
Okay, so Gimli's the place.
Gimli's the place. Yeah. We're teaming up with the Gimli Car Club. Each year they host probably one of the largest outdoor car shows. If you've not been up there, they run up the main street there all the way to the docks, to the harbor there, 800 to 1,000 cars. So we've tagged along with them just because the weekend coincides with what happens down in the United States and other provinces in Canada with the Collector Car Appreciation Day. John Hickaway and his guys out there open their arms, and we're running two huge events at once.
All right, so the Gimli show and Appreciation Day.
That's correct.
Dang. All right, so now you're going to do, where are you going to put all these cars then?
They squeeze them in up the main road. They start way up at the top end all the way down to the harbor area. There's some lots on the lot there, on the street. There's side streets. They fill it up. Right now the weather looking at 31 degrees and sunny. I think anybody that has a collector car will be up in Gimli this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be a fabulous looking day on Saturday.
Looking great.
And Gimli gets lots of traffic anyway.
Yes.
So this is you're going to get what they call a lot of walk-by traffic. People who might not normally come to a car show are going to be in Gimli, and they're going to notice. They're going to watch. They're going to look at this stuff, right? So you get some potential new customers there.
Well, and we've been getting a lot of calls, emails, texts. Hey, what's happening at the Ledge this year? So we put the word out that everything is up in Gimli. It's a 45-minute drive from the perimeter. Come on out there. It's going to be a fantastic day.
All right. So what am I going to see?
You're going to see any kind of car you want to see in the form of classic cars. The Collector Car Appreciation Day celebrations are going to take place at 1 o'clock. The guys have a main stage up there. We've got representatives, MLAs, MPs from the provincial, from the federal. We have the local mayor of Gimli coming out. We have a representative from the RCMP that's going to come out and be part of our opening ceremonies. It's just going to be a fantastic day.
In terms of cars, Bob, what's going to be on display?
In terms of cars, well, you can probably see a 1929 Model T all the way up to an 86 Grand National Buick and everything in between. Classics, street rods, hot rods, you name it. It's going to be there.
All right. So we're hundreds of cars?
We're talking 800 to 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge.
So, and all of the people who are going to be sitting with their cars want desperately to talk to you about them.
Absolutely.
Right? They don't want you to just walk by and look. They want you to stop and ask about those cars, right?
Ask about them. There's history. Everybody had a station wagon. Everybody grew up in a Comet or something like that. So the car owners are they're more than happy to reach out to everybody and talk about the history. And that's what the event is all about, is to celebrate the heritage and the history of the automobile. So we're there. We want to talk to people.
Where do we stand right now, Bob? Just overall health of collector cars and antique cars in Manitoba. I know it's always been these guys ebb and flow, but it's always been a pretty healthy culture here.
I don't think it's even near plateaued yet. I mean, every year, because I'm involved in a couple other projects, you can go out in springtime to the Pony Corral in May long weekend,
right,
and there's a dozen brand new cars that just came out and nobody has seen them before, and that happens every weekend of the summertime. type of thing. So we're nowhere near the plateau. It's so huge, Canada-wide and, of course, North America-wide. It's just huge.
So how does the car culture take such hold here in Manitoba?
You know,
I don't know that it would be. I don't know that it would be the same. For example, if you go to Saskatchewan, I know they've got car clubs there, but it's not at the level that we've got here. Why here?
You know, that's a good question, Jeff. I can't really answer that. We all have the same kind of winters right across Canada, out the prairies. Maybe a little tougher on the prairies here. Guys have more time to work on their cars in the winter or to build a car, whatever it may be. But, you know, when you look at Saskatchewan, Alberta, I've traveled right across Western Canada, and I'm going to say we're probably way up there above those guys, not knocking our friends next door.
Well, no, but the car culture in Manitoba has just, I think it's surpassed our prairie neighbors.
I would say you're probably correct on that notice.
Is it possible because so much of our population is centered in one place that it's easier to kind of get that critical mass or that culture going?
You say that. I'm going to go back to the beginning of June. I went out, the guys in Brandon, on the first Thursday of each month. They do what they call a cruise night. They shut down Rosser Avenue down there. City works with them there. There was like 350 to 400 cars on a Thursday night on display on Rosser Avenue. I mean, I'd seen vehicles I've never even seen before coming from Winnipeg here. So, you know, yes, we are a two-city province, but there is stuff stashed away everywhere. The Winklers, the Carmens of the world, Steinbach. This stuff is out there.
So it is. So it's not just because there's a lot of people in Winnipeg who are interested in cars. It's all over the province.
It's all over the province. I mean, I'm involved with the collector plate program that we do. We have a qualifier that qualifies collector cars up in Thompson. There's some up there.
Oh. Okay, you mentioned the collector plate program. That story goes back a long way.
We're 2014. So we're 5 years completed.
5 years you've got the plates.
Yes.
It was the years before that.
It was the years prior to it.
Right. It took a long time to get those collector plates.
It took a long time, but you know, we're seeing.
Will you share, for the people who don't know it, will you share the backstory to those collector car plates?
Well, we had a bunch of predecessors of ours. I call them predecessors. Some of the guys had been around. They still are around. The Manitoba Association of Auto Clubs was formed in 1995, and we pretty much started on the program around that time era there, working with the government, working with the MPI people. And it took us to 2014 to really finally get that thing passed into law and passed into everything here. So we're 5 years running with it right now. We have over 7,000 cars qualified already. You know, it just grows. We have 72 qualifiers across the province of Manitoba, every little town, every little area, so we're active.
It's an insurance issue, right, those collector plates, to a great extent.
They're not like a Jets plate or a Gold Ice plate. They actually have insurance ramifications to them, so that's why it took, that much time to get everything implemented.
Right. I mean, they're valuable cars, but they don't spend very much time on the road compared to the rest of the car that you would drive every day.
The insurance programs are somewhat similar in a certain way to the motorcycle plates type of deal. You know, they're seasonal. Right. You're allowed to take the vehicle to work 4 times a month. You know, there's a couple of small restrictions.
There's some restrictions there because you're not going to take your classic car to work very often.
Not very often. No.
You might want to take it to the office and show it off.
Take it to CJOB. I brought mine here today.
Yeah, show it off to some people and all that stuff. But you don't want to take it grocery shopping and leave it where the 3-wheeled shopping cart might bang into the thing.
Yeah, right? Exactly. We're pretty particular on that type of situations, but great response though for Gimli. We're really looking forward to showing everybody a great, fantastic event up there.
All right, so talk to me, and I ask you about this every year, Bob. I know, but young people getting into the hobby.
Well,
it's not a cheap hobby necessarily to get into, but it doesn't take a fortune to get into it. You can start reasonably.
You can start reasonably. The key to that whole thing here, and we've been doing, when I say we, the car community, the hot rod community, we've been doing a better job getting involved with the youth. They've, over the years, have felt not welcomed at some of the large shows and that, but we've made our cases saying, you guys are part of this whole scene. You need to be part of this. And the best way to describe it to the public out there, the young fellows with the Hondas and the Toyotas and the what have yous there, that's their 55 Chevy of today. We were all down that road in the 70s. So it's just generational, and we're just doing a better job including these. Our invite this year for them to come and participate up in Gimli for the Collector Car Day and just be part of the big show. We're hoping to see a lot of tuner cars and, that era, that generation up there.
Well, it's a mistake that a lot of pastimes, hobby, sports, what have you, make by not making sure that the next generation is getting groomed.
Well, and that's it. And you have to do a better job of reaching out to them because they're intimidated. I'll be honest, they are somewhat intimidated by the gray hair guys.
Oh, yeah, the crusty old guys. What do you want here, kid?
Yeah, we don't want that. We're trying to change that culture to include them because they're our future. We're seeing, being involved with World of Wheel shows across North America, we are seeing less and less street rods being built, the traditional 32, 34 Fords. As the generation gets older, those cars are being put away. Who knows what's going to happen with them? People are dying off. They're going to hand them down to a younger generation that may not want them. So we need to have the youth part of what we're doing moving forward.
Yeah, because they're interested. Say a young guy getting into it now. Is he interested in a different vehicle than you'd be interested in?
Oh, for sure. Like I say, the popularity of the Honda Civics and those types of vehicles, we're seeing an influx, a lot of vehicles imported from Japan through United States, right-hand drive vehicles up here. They have to pass a pretty stringent safety program to be registered in the province of Manitoba or anywhere in Canada.
You see, I think there are a couple of hundred right-hand drives in the province, give or take.
Give or take, they're up there. They're up there. We're seeing more and more of them, and you know what? That's the future. Albeit that's the future. It's not a 55 Chevy or a 32 Ford, but that's the future moving forward, and we need to work with those young people.
Well, again, everything is generational, and you can't look down your nose and say, "Oh yeah, I had one of those. Well, yeah, I drove one of those into the ground. I bought it and sold it, and that was my everyday car." Yeah. It may not be as big a deal to somebody in their 60s, but if you're in your 20s, maybe.
But you see some of the younger fellas and gals in their 20s. They'll show up at a cruise night with not the prettiest looking car, but you know what? Arms are open to them. That's where it starts. It starts there. Once they get a full-time job, they're out of high school or university, then they're going to get a job, and then, you know what? That little car becomes quite the collector after all. I mean, we're seeing some of these young people putting $50,000 to $100,000 in these cars.
Wow.
They're cool. They're really cool. It's the technology changes.
You'll like this text I got from an old buddy of yours named Dave. It says, Bob's the best spokesperson for car culture in Manitoba. Known him since he sold me my Grand Am back in 01.
Thanks, Dave.
So Dave's one of our regular listeners as well, and so it's great to hear. Great to hear from him, and nice, kind words, and we'll let it go there. But it is the Cruisin' Gimli Beach and Collector Car Appreciation Day, all happening on Saturday in Gimli. And there's a pancake breakfast from 9 to 11.
Yep.
There's all kinds of good stuff going on. But the main thing is you're going to see a ton of fascinating cars of all vintages. And some of them are older, some of them newer, but you're going to see, if you're a car person, you have any interest in them, and even if you're planning to be at Gimli this weekend, and you think, oh, it's going to be too packed, go see these cars.
Be there.
Yeah, just because Gimli's going to be, it's always a great place to go on the weekend.
It's a fun place, but then also hearing some of our government, our representatives from government actually speaking and backing what we do. It's nice to see. We've gotten to a space in time now over 35, 40 years working with different levels of government. They have a better understanding what all car people and all car clubs do in our communities.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's a big charitable component and all that stuff, which we haven't touched on today, but yeah, for sure there is. Yeah. Bob Chubala, always great to see you, bud. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks, Jeff.